All right, wonderful. Welcome, everybody. We have a lovely guest, returning guest, Orsha Magyar of NeuroTrition. Wonderful. So we recently did a class all about the glymphatic system. Yes, you've heard of the lymphatic system, but this is the glymphatic system, which, is about the brain. It's about detoxification. There's a lot to it. Hence why we did a whole class on it. And there was a ton of great value that was shared during that class. And there was a few questions that came up for those of us that were in the session. And Orsha has done some research and very graciously offered to kind of fill in the blanks of where some of those questions came up. So we're going to dive into that. And and then also we've got a little announcement about the next time that this class will be offered. So stay to the end or check out the details down below, and welcome, Orsha.
Thank you, Malcolm. I had such a great time hosting this for you and your customers, and I'm so excited to be back, as well as to answer these really cool questions that came up.
Okay, right on. Well, it was a pleasure to host you. I know this was a brand new workshop that you've been working on, some of the kind of the latest, the cutting edge research, and in particular, let's just give people folks with a really kind of quick overview. In particular, who are the type of people that will benefit from this kind of information? We talked about Alzheimer's, MS patients, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so this workshop really had to do with the science behind brain detox and this newly discovered system, like you mentioned, Malcolm, called the glymphatic system, because whereas the lymphatic system can detox the body, the brain didn't get a lymphatic system. So 13 years ago, neuroscientists discovered that our brain has its very own system. So this workshop is for people who want to know what is going on with this brain detox system, and how do I make it work for me? It's for people who want to age gracefully. It's for people who want to sleep better. And like you kind of alluded to, it's for people who are at risk of or struggling with various neurological and degenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, stroke, traumatic brain injury. Those are the sorts of things that science is showing a role for this brain detox system in.
Yeah, and my apologies. I know I'd said MS, but just as soon as I'd said it, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah.
It's okay.
All right.
The science is new, and Malcolm, you know what? I'm sure that within a few years, we're going to have some evidence for MS and those sorts of autoimmune nervous system diseases as well. So I don't think you're too far off.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Ahead of my time, I guess. Hey.
Hello, pioneer.
Anyways, well, let's dive into some of the questions that we got. So one of them, and I'll quote, says, you said that deep sleep is important. And I really love that section that you talked about sleep. And the question was, is there a percentage we should be striving for? And she gives the example that, having a Fitbit that shows the average about 20% in deep sleep, wondering if that is good or bad.
Yeah, I've got a kind of a long-winded answer because I dug into the research, because I just thought this question was so brilliant. And for those of you that didn't attend this first workshop, we really have a lot of science telling us that this beautiful brain detox system, the glymphatic system, wakes up while we're asleep. So that's why a big focus of the workshop was about sleeping better. That's what we need to turn on the glymphatic system. And what the research kind of suggested was that, you want to be spending anywhere from 13 to 23% of your nightly sleep in this deep sleep or non-REM state. So that means for about every 8 hours that you're asleep, you want at least 1 to 2 hours to be in this deep sleep that we know turns on your glymphatic system. So, if you're sleeping 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, but you're waking up tired, unrested, unfocused for your day, something's going on. And, you may be getting not that minimum 13% that you need. And this is really relevant because not only does deep sleep activate the glymphatic, the brain detox system, to reduce our risk for these neurodegenerative diseases, but that's also where healing and recovery happens. So if you're sleeping, the recommended amount, but not enough deep sleep, your weight is going to suffer, your immune system, not to mention your mental health and your neurological health.
Cool, right on. I appreciate that response. And so this next question was kind of tied in and a follow up to the other. And it was I was fascinated to know that your husband is a cannabis researcher. And this is why you wanted to okay, wait, let me just check with him and kind of get the skinny on this. And that's idea of how much does cannabis use affect sleep and then, by association, therefore the lymphatic system.
Yeah, so I spoke with him. So I'm so lucky that I was able to speak directly to him, so I didn't have to go elsewhere and get the secondhand research. So here's what he said. He said, yes, in general, cannabis is helpful, can be helpful for sleep. However, the studies are limited, right? It only became legal here in Canada not that long ago. So he and his colleagues are just now starting to be allowed to bring people in and study these things. But so far, the few studies suggest this, and it has really cool implications for brain detox and glymphatic system. So limited studies show that that cannabis specifically increases the non-REM, the deep sleep that we're talking about, needing for glymphatic, and it reduces REM. So REM is, that state of sleeping where all your vitals are really jacked up. So your heart rate's up, breathing rate is up, you're paralyzed so that you don't act out your dreams, but that's when you're dreaming. So cannabis suppresses that, but it increases stage 3 and 4 to increase brain detox and all the healing and recovery. So again, anecdotally, my husband was saying, people who have sleep disorders and insomnia, they love cannabis. They say it works for them, but it hasn't been properly researched yet. Where we do see some research, where my husband works as well, is with PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder. And there is a story building that suggests that cannabis can be really helpful for people who suffer from PTSD. And the reason being because it suppresses REM and it suppresses those horrific nightmares of their trauma.
Wow, incredible. Cool. Okay, well, good news all around.
Really positive news. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, we have just one final question. There was lots, during the session in class, and you're able to answer all those. And just these 3 that we're going through are kind of a bonus. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Give this a thumbs up, share it out. For those that really need this information, we will be offering another workshop with Orsha. I'll get into those details in just a moment. And the final question was mercury fillings and the effect on the brain. And I assume, that connection is that something that the lymphatic system can deal with?
Yeah, so unfortunately, and I was so hoping this wasn't true because I have a mouthful of these mercury amalgam fillings, there is a correlation. So there is a strong connection between these fillings and both dementia and autoimmune disease. I already have autoimmune disease, so do a lot of my patients. I don't have dementia yet, but the science, unfortunately, is seeing a link. So, we need to make sure that the parts of the body that deal with detoxification of mercury are working, namely our liver, our kidneys, and the glymphatic system. So we need to really work with nutrition, with supplementation to make sure those are revved up. A lot of people also ask me, so I dove into the research too a little bit on, well, if my mouth is full of metal, should I get it removed? And the answer is a little bit long-winded. And I'll share with you my personal story too, is I've slowly started to get them removed, but the oldest ones first, the ones that my dentist is thinking are starting to crack or starting to be ready to come out. Because some science says that if you get them all removed all at once, the vapor that, unfortunately, the type of mercury that's used in fillings emits a vapor that readily crosses the blood-brain barrier and goes into your brain, might be even more harmful. So yeah, get them out slowly. Don't just go in for like a budget dentist that's willing to do all in one go and be exposed to that mercury vapor.
Totally. Yeah. I know there are dentists in town that will, hook you up with vitamin C and they've got put the rubber dam in the mouth and, do it all very carefully, very properly.
Yeah. So that's how I did it. So I do not have a holistic dentist, but I made sure she brought in everything and I paid extra and made sure that those steps were put in place. And I had one removed so far and I'm going to do it like that. And then I may trichelate it after. I was like chewing on the algae tablets for like 2 months. So you do what you can, obviously, if you go now to have fillings, ask for them not to be. Ask for that whiter porcelain. It's pricier. It's safer.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, really appreciate it, Orsha. Thank you so much.
It was so fun to find the answers. I appreciate your customers asking such great questions.
Yeah, cool. Well, hey, if you would like to learn from Orsha and particularly particular on this topic of the glymphatic system, keeping your brain healthy, and that whole detoxification process that she's going to outline and explain. June 15th, that's a Thursday night. We're going to do it again. We're going to start at 7 p.m. Orsha's got her presentation, and then she does leave lots of questions. And if you just can't wait and you really want to connect with Orsha, let us know. She's a neuroscientist. She has a private practice. She has a company called NeuroTrition, and just fill folks in on how they can connect directly with you, Orsha.
Thank you, Malcolm. So you can check out our website at neurotrition.ca, and you can email me directly from there, or just my email is orsha@neurotrition.ca. And we've got our office here in downtown Calgary, or we see patients kind of worldwide remotely in my virtual office. So thank you very much.
All right, right on. Okay, well, I'll post a link to the event page, and on that is a previous interview that we had done, kind of just more generally introducing Orsha and the work that she's up to and talking about the class. So thanks everybody again for tuning in, and yeah, all right, thank you, Orsha.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.